إن الحمد لله وحده الصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وبعد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم.
The ultimate form of comfort and consolation in the heart. So this is not something different. So it's something like if we feel that a person is always this weepy person, weeping all the time, and he cannot feel the pleasure of life. His life is full of anguish, sorrow, and sadness. No, that's altogether wrong thinking about the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Although this fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, it encourages a person to do something good, and that good deed or performing that particular good deed, it fills up the heart with the joy and bliss, the eternal bliss, which can never be found by wallahi those who deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who associate partner to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or who are too much away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They cannot have this joy, this bliss in the heart.
Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
May I just ask?
Yes, please.
So this good feeling in the heart when you do a good deed, is it not a bad thing to dwell on it too long? Because
Sorry,
it might lead to riya.
Come again, sorry, please.
If you do a good deed and you have a good feeling in the heart, is it not better not to dwell on it too long for fear of it being riya?
Oh, yes. Sometimes it also happens that a person feels that when he feels the good in the heart, but this goodness doesn't mean that he feels arrogant. If he feels arrogant, now I'm something special, and this feeling will make him to despise others. That is riya. Or the person who wants to get.
Or when you do a good deed, you feel that you are better than the other person. Which is not right, isn't it?
No, yes. If this is that it is contemptuous of others, you hold others in contempt. You think that they are despised. They are nothing. You see, look at me. I do this. I do this. I do this. So that is riya, and that's even not only riya. That is kibr. That is one of the dangerous sin, one of the deadly sin. But one thing is that the outcome of good deed is always comfort in the heart. It is a result and the outcome of the good deed. That's what Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-birru matma'anna biha qalbuk. What is righteousness? When your heart feels satisfaction. When you do it, you feel the tranquility in the heart, coolness you feel in the heart. That's actually the thamara, the fruit of that good deed. However, we have to be very cautious there because shaitan is always with us. He will try to just take advantage of this moment. He will try his top level best. That is why Islam teaches us whenever you do good stuff, whenever you perform any good deed, it must be followed by istighfar. What is the topmost action or amal in Islam after the shahada, after the tawheed? What is the topmost amal in Islam? Yes? The best of all deeds after tawheed. What is the best of all deeds in Islam? You guess? All of you know, all of you practice, I hope. Every day you practice.
Salat.
Salat is the best of all deeds in Islam.
Salat.
Yes. Salat is the best deed in Islam. And even Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of the hadith says, as-salatu khairu mawdu'in. The best amal which Allah has prescribed for his servants is salat. So prayer is the best of all deeds. And another narration says, this very famous hadith, Bunya al-Islam ala khams, that the foundation of Islam lies upon 5 things, in which 5 pillars of Islam have been mentioned. The first one is shahada. The second one is wa iqamatu salah. Performing the salah is the best of all deeds. Mullah al-Qari rahimahullah is one of the famous scholars. He says that in this hadith there is a dalil and evidence that of all the actions and deeds of a person, the best of all deeds is salah. Because Prophet mentions salah after shahada, he mentions salah. So this is evidence that the best of all deeds after iman and tawheed, after shahada, is salah. So salah is best of all deeds. When we perform the salah, when we finish our salah, we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. What is the zikr we perform first? When we finish our salah, so what is the first statement we say?
Astaghfirullah azim.
Allahul azim, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah.
Astaghfirullah azim.
So we perform the best of deed, but after performing it, we seek the istighfar. That's how Islam teaches us. Why to say istighfar? For many reasons. First, Ya Allah, if there is any lacuna, if there is any flaw on my part, I seek your forgiveness. Second, Ya Allah, this is the best of deed. I could not do it without your tawfiq. So I seek your forgiveness. So however action is good, to protect the reward of the action, the best way is to seek the istighfar. Or, Ya Allah, I may have committed riya in my salah. There might have passed many moments upon my heart. I felt better than others. I seek your forgiveness. So istighfar protects the amal. When we do any sort of good deed, it must be followed by istighfar. That's the best way. Even if the shaitan or Satan, he will try his top level best. I always say that round the clock, 24/7, he has only one single job: to mislead us, to whisper into our hearts so that we are away from the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's his objective. He tries his top level best to stop us, prevent us performing any good deed. But once we decide to perform it, then his second step, his second plan. There are many plans. Plan 1, plan 2, plan A, B, C. Many plans are there to sabotage our deed, to destroy and devastate our good deed. Plan A is not to allow us, to prevent us performing the good deed. But still we decided, no, we have to perform it. Then plan B. Okay, now he has performed this deed, let me spoil it. Let him try his best to make it for others, not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why ulama say that in order to protect our good deeds, we should be always saying, Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah. Ya Allah, I seek your forgiveness. Second thing, sometimes a person feels that he's making riya, he's making show off, but practically it is not. Essentially, it is not riya. Apparently it seems to be riya for a person, but it isn't. That is actually the level of one's taqwa, which makes him to feel even the subtlest forms of the riya. Like a person performed a good deed, then he feels good in the heart. But at the same time, he feels that as if I'm doing this for others, that's why I feel the happiness. So he's fighting with this intention, Ya Allah, no, I'm doing only for your sake. So, but the second thought comes, oh, you are doing for others. So as long as a person is in the conflict, is in the clash with this feeling, which makes him to think that you are doing this for others, the person is on ikhlas. The moment a person surrenders to this feeling, yes, you are doing this for others, then it is riya. A simple example, if a person is in a glass room, so all around 4 walls are made up of glass, so we can see it's all transparent. A housefly comes, it sits on the surface. When you see from the inside, it seems to be that the fly is inside, but actually and factually it is outside. It seems to be inside, but it is not. Same is case with the riya. Sometimes a person feels that he's performing riya, he's doing the riya, but that's not riya. Now how can a person realize, how can a person be sure that it's not riya? The moment he finds this conflict, this clash with the shaitan, with the nafs, say, Ya Allah, I'm doing this only for you. But the whims come, the whisperings come, no, you're doing this for, that's why you're feeling very much happiness. You want to show to the people so that you get the praises of the people. But again, you say, no, I'm not doing this for the sake of the people. I'm doing this only for the sake of the Lord of the people. That's my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are very subtle situations of feelings, which a person, as I said in the beginning, we have to be fearful, we have to be careful. The fearfulness and carefulness must be there. And this is the ilaj, this is the cure or remedy to the fearlessness or carelessness. So getting back to our topic, so the khauf is not something that a person's life is full of anguish, a person's life is full of sorrow and sadness. That's not khauf. The khauf is a person's heart is at tranquility. It's full of consolation and satisfaction, but at the same time, it develops the humbleness in a person. It adds to the humility of a person. It increases humility, it increases humbleness. It increases a feeling that I'm nothing, Ya Allah. You're everything. So the fear is this. And the Sahaba ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajmeen, as I said before, they had this feeling at a strong degree. With a strong degree, they had this feeling. Sayyidina Anas says radiyallahu anhu, Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu, who stayed for 10 long years with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, serving the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. He says, "Dakhaltu ha'itan, ay bustanan." He says, once upon a time, I entered in a garden. فَسَمِعْتُ عُمَرَ بْنِ الْخَطَّابِ فَسَمِعْتُ عُمَرَ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ يَقُولُ. I heard Sayyidina Umar saying. So he was also present in the garden. However, وَبَيْنِي وَبَيْنَهُ جِدَارٌ. There was a wall between him and me. So he was from other side of the wall, I was this side of the wall. So he could not see me. But I could listen his conversation. I could listen to his speech. Anas ibn Malik says, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So he says, Sayyidina Umar, I heard him saying, Umar ibn al-Khattab, Amir al-Mu'mineen. So Sayyidina Umar was addressing himself. Oh Umar, the son of Khattab, you are the leader of believers. Bakhil, be cautious enough. La tattaqeen Allah ibn al-Khattab. Oh, the son of Khattab, addressing himself. You have to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You must fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aw la yu'adhibannak. He will punish you. So he was admonishing himself, giving self-admonition and trying to have self-transformation by giving nasiha to himself. Before others could give nasiha to him, he was giving nasiha to himself. So there's a great lesson for us. We should also do this. Whenever our nafs prompts us, whenever our nafs motivates us to do something wrong, we should address our nafs. Okay, if you do this wrong, you may feel a temporary enjoyment, a temporary pleasure you may feel at this moment, but after this you have to face the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Will you be able to bear the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Sometimes Shaitan also said, okay, you see, we will see that Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. Allah will forgive the sins, and undoubtedly He is Ghafurur Rahim, but is also Al-Wahidul Qahhar. So Shaitan, he gives us one side of the Asma'ul Husna, but he puts the others in the shade. There's one hikayah, a story, that a person, he used to go, whenever he would return back to his home, he would say to his wife, bring the wine. She would bring the wine. Then pour into the glass. She was pouring into the glass. Then he would say to her, say Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. She used to say, the poor wife, she would say, Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. Then he would take the wine. Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. She went to a scholar and complaining about this evil habit of her husband. And the scholar advised her, when this time or this night he comes and he says, pour the wine. When you pour the wine and he will say to you, say Allah is Ghafur Rahim, instead of saying Allah is Ghafur Rahim, you must say Allah is Wahidul Qahhar. Allah is Al-Wahidul Qahhar. And she did the same thing. When the husband asked her, say Allah is Ghafurur Rahim, she said, Allah is Wahidul Qahhar. So he began to tremble. And this was admonition for him. Yes, he said, I was misled by the shaitan. He used to keep me just thinking about this, Allah is Ghafurur Rahim, until I dared upon the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have reminded me that Allah is Ghafurur Rahim, but at the same breath is also Al-Wahidul Qahhar. So we need to strike the balance. And this balance is immensely important. Shaitan makes us to believe that Allah is Ghafur Rahim. But the negative aspect of this meaning is that he encourages us to do something wrong. He encourages us upon the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to be cautious enough over here. A person should not be misled by this false notion which encourage a person to perform the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the fear of punishment of Allah, as Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said, لَتَتَّقِينَ اللَّهِ, that you must fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibn al-Khattab, O son of Khattab, أَوْ لَيُعَذِّبَنَّكَ, otherwise Allah will severely punish you if you don't stay away from the forbidden things. So addressing oneself is immensely important. There's a beautiful story written by ulama that there was a princess. She went out for the hunting. She went deep into the forest until her escort, her bodyguards, they were all just cut off from her, because she went too deep into the forest in search of the hunt, in search of the prey, until she lost her way. And the forest was quite dense forest, full of wild beasts, and nobody's around. And now she is too much fearful of the wild beasts, and the night is drawing closer. The escort, the soldiers, they are trying their best to find her out, but they couldn't. They failed to find her out until the night draws closer and it was all darkness. She's totally, terribly now tremored and fearful. She's frightened. And now it is all dark. She could find a light at a far off place, thinking that there must be some people living over there. Now she approached towards that direction until she reached there. There was a small hut. When she knocked at the door was open and there was one young man. When he saw the princess, he was terribly surprised. Then he welcomed her and took her inside the hut. Since all the day she was hungry, and she asked for some food. And the young guy, he was having some bread and some curry, but many days. Since princess, she was accustomed to the royal food. Now this is ordinary poor food. When she started eating the food, she found it delicious, enough delicious. And then this young guy, there was one single bed. He offered this bed to the princess and told her, you can have rest over there, and tomorrow morning I will take you to the palace. During the intervening night, the young man, the ulama mentioned, he got engaged in the ibadah. And in the morning, back at the palace, everybody was now in a state of awe, because the princess was now disappeared. So the emergency was all announced in the country, and the troopers were sent to many directions to find her out, but of no use. It was all in vain. And after the drawn prayers, this young man took the princess to the palace. And when they reached the palace, king saw the daughter. He hugged the daughter and he was crying because the only daughter was missing. And then she said to the king that this is the man who brought me here. King became very happy. And he asked him, whatever you ask of me, I will give you. He said, no, it was a trust of yours with me. I return my trust to you. It is enough for me. My needs are being taken care of by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the king said to him, okay, in your whole life, in your whole lifetime, whenever you are in need of anything, please feel free to come to me. Now he was about to leave. The princess said to his father, I want to ask him a question. The king stopped the young man and said, my daughter wants to ask a question to you. He said, yes. She said, you can see his finger, it is covered with a bandage. What happened when last night he offered his bed to me and he was engaged in the tilawah of the Quran. He was reciting the Quran, and me on my part, I was not feeling at rest because it was all loneliness. There was nobody around. So I felt a bit apprehensive, and the cause of apprehension was quite obvious. And this young guy, he was reciting the Quran. Then while reciting the Quran, he would look at me. He would gaze at me. Then after he would turn away the gaze, then he would put his finger upon the flame of the lamp, which was in front of him. When his finger was bruised and burnt, and he would feel the pain of this burning, he would just remove it and then get engaged with the tilawah of the Quran. And after some time, again he would look at me. Then he would turn away his gaze again and then put the finger upon the flame of this lamp. And he would feel tremendous pain. Then he would again get engaged with the Quran. I want to ask him, what was he doing? Why did he do this? This young man, he said, this was a secret between me and my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, since it's a command of the king, command of the ruler, so I have to abide by, I have to oblige to. Actually, Shaitan used to come to me. He was telling me that is the best opportunity for you to cross the limits of the Sharia, to fulfill your desire, to gratify your soul, gratify your nafs. And there is no hindrance, there is no any impediment. Unimpeded environment is there. Then I would say to my nafs, okay, if you do this haram thing, you have to face the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Shaitan would say to me, okay, that time inshallah, that time you'll see. Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. Even if you shall be cast into the fire, you'll be taken out one day because of the iman. As there is authentic hadith, Prophet said this, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, that if a person, when the people of Jannah go to Jannah, people of Jahannam go to Jahannam, after that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to an angel, you go to the Jahannam and see if there is any man possessing just one granule of iman in his heart. He is possessing the iman to the weight of a mustard seed. Just take him out and just make him to enter the Jannah. This is the barakah of the iman. Even if a person is having iman to the weight of a mustard seed, this iman will take him out of the Jahannam one day and will cause him to enter the paradise. So Shaitan would tell me, okay, even if you are supposed to face the Jahannam, it will be just not for a long period of time. It will be just few days, countable days. Then you will be taken out of the Jahannam and taken to the Jannah. But this time you will have too much pleasure. Then I would say to my nafs, okay, if you are bold enough to face the punishment of the Jahannam, let me try. If you can bear the flame of this lamp, if you could bear the flame of this lamp, then you can also bear the punishment of Jahannam. Okay, let me test you. Then I would place my finger upon the flame of the lamp. And when I was feeling tremendous pain, then I would address my nafs. You are not able to face this small flame, let alone the flame of the Jahannam. Narullahi al-muqadah, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. Narullahi al-muqadah is a fire set ablaze by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ulama say, to just make us realize the horrible and horrendous flame of the Jahannam. They say, if the whole of dunya is set ablaze, if it is burned, whole of this dunya, and a man from Jahannam is taken out of Jahannam, and now he is placed into the fire of this dunya, he'll feel at ease and at calm. Means the fire of dunya will be nothing. It will be no so serious, what we can say, scorching as that of the Jahannam. So he will feel at ease and at calm in the fire of this dunya. So he said, I would address my nafs. If you can bear this, okay, then I'm convinced you can also bear the flame of Jahannam. But I would feel tremendous pain, unbearable and intolerable pain that would force me to take it away. Then I was getting engaged again with the Quran. Addressing my nafs, you are not able to face this small punishment, this small flame you are not able to tolerate. How can you tolerate the flame of the Jahannam? Then again Shaitan would come to me, asking the same, giving the same opinion. Then I would address the same way. That's why this finger is burnt out. This is fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is true fear of Allah, which helps a person to stay away from all prohibitions. So we should address our nafs. You are saying this, yes, Allah is Ghafurur Rahim, but the same breath is also Al-Wahidul Qahhar. This doesn't mean that we should lose the hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Never. But this also doesn't mean that we should be bold enough upon the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why two elements are important. On one side, too much fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But at the same time, stronger hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But hope, I said, when we discussed the hope in our last sessions, ar-raja, there must be a difference between hope and wishful thinking. What is hope? Hope is we desire something good, and that good has certain demands which need to be fulfilled. When a person fulfills those demands of that particular good deed, after performing that, he is having the hope with Allah that now this good deed will be a source of emancipation for me, a source of salvation for me in the akhirah. That is hope. What is wishful thinking? The person keep on performing the bad deeds. He keep on performing the bad deeds, but at the same breath, he says, Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. If you remember, we discussed last time, one of the beautiful hadiths by Imam At-Tirmizi, rahimahullah, Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Al-Kayyisu man dana nafsah wa amila lima ba'da al-maut. The intelligent enough, the sagaciously dexterous, the intelligent, ultra brilliant is the one, Al-Kayyisu man dana nafsah, who controlled the vain desires of his nafs. Wa amila lima ba'da al-maut, and he practices for the life after death. He performs the deeds for the life after death. Wal-ajiz, the foolish, the dunce person is the one, man atba'a nafsuhu hawaha, whose nafs follows his vain desires. Wa tamanna ala Allah, and then he has a guess about Allah that he is Ghafurur Rahim. He has a bad guess with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that despite all these bad deeds, he will not ask him. He will not put him to the task. He will not put him to the account. So he is the most dunce person, foolish person. So the intelligence lies in when we realize the importance of akhirah. When we realize, yes, with every passing day, we are getting closer to Allah. With every passing night, we are getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this should develop a good hope, a strong hope in us to meet our Lord. This should not bring any sort of despondency or hopelessness in us that I'm leaving this dunya. No, this should develop a strong desire in us so that we devote ourselves to perform more and more good deeds.
Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.